Knowing precisely why you are broken is the most comfortable prison you will ever build. This idea sits at the heart of a vicious debate in psychology and self-improvement, one with casualties measured in wasted years. On one side are the analysts, who believe that true, deep understanding of our own wiring is the only path to freedom. On the other are the pragmatists, who argue that insight is a luxury and action is the only cure. Where do you stand? By the end of this, the ground beneath your feet will have shifted. The argument for self-awareness is compelling because it feels like a prerequisite for everything else. How can you fix an engine without a schematic? How can you navigate a city without a map? Proponents of this view argue that action without insight is just frantic random motion. You might dig a hole, but you're probably digging it in the wrong place. This perspective is the foundation of many therapeutic traditions. The goal is to excavate the past, to connect the dots between a childhood event and a current pattern of self-sabotage. The moment of insight, the aha, feels like a key turning in a lock. Suddenly, your confusing, painful behaviors have a story. They have a reason. That relief is immense. It provides a coherent narrative for your suffering, transforming chaos into a solvable problem. Think of the person who finally understands that their fear of commitment stems from a parent's messy divorce. This awareness allows them to see their impulse to flee a good relationship for what it is, a ghost, an echo from the past. Before this insight, they were simply a prisoner to the impulse, feeling it as a genuine, urgent truth about their partner. After the insight, they have a choice. They can observe the feeling arise and say, "I recognize you. You are a memory, not a prediction." From this viewpoint, awareness creates the space necessary for change to occur. It separates the person from their programming. The work is to make the unconscious conscious. Once you see the puppet strings, you can begin to cut them. Action in this model follows naturally from correct seeing. The clarity itself is the catalyst. This is why people spend years, sometimes decades, in therapy, journaling, and reflection. They are building a complete model of their own psyche. Every gear, every spring, every worn-out cog is identified, labeled, and understood in relation to the whole machine. The belief is that once the model is complete, the machine can finally be repaired. Change that happens without this deep understanding is seen as superficial. It's a temporary patch on a fundamental flaw. You might stop one bad habit, but the underlying issue will simply manifest in another way. A different addiction, a new form of avoidance. The root must be addressed, and the only tool that can reach the root is the focused light of awareness. That sounds like the only sane way to operate, a perfect diagnosis before you attempt a cure. But there is a deep seductive trap hidden inside this logic. What if building the perfect map of your own dysfunctions becomes the goal itself? This brings us to the other side of the debate, the pragmatists. They look at the person with the perfect map of their own misery and ask a brutal question: are you walking? They argue that self-awareness can easily become the most sophisticated form of procrastination ever invented. It feels like productive work. It engages your intellect. It offers satisfying epiphanies. But the entire process can take place while you are sitting perfectly still. In this view, insight is a booby prize. You win a complete understanding of why you are losing the game, while still losing the game. The argument is that the human mind is a master of self-deception, and its greatest trick is convincing you that thinking about a problem is the same as solving it. The proponents of self-regulation see the brain differently. They see it as an evidence machine. It builds its sense of self from your actions. Each time you avoid a difficult conversation, your brain learns, we are the kind of person who avoids conflict. Each time you choose the couch over the gym, your brain learns, we are the kind of person who values comfort over effort. The narrative follows the behavior. Reading another book about procrastination, while procrastinating only sends one message to your brain, we are the kind of person who studies procrastination. The action, or lack of it, is what writes the code. You cannot think your way into a new identity. You must act your way into it and let the thinking catch up. This is the core principle behind cognitive behavioral therapy and its offshoots. The focus is on interrupting the pattern now. Even without a full understanding of its origin, imagine a man who is terrified of public speaking. The awareness camp sends him to therapy to uncover the roots of this fear. Perhaps a humiliating experience in 3rd grade. After a year, he can give you a brilliant psychoanalytic account of his performance anxiety. The regulation camp gives him a different instruction. Speak in front of one person for 30 seconds. Next week, 2 people. The week after, a small group. This approach, known as exposure therapy, operates on a simple premise. The only way to teach the nervous system that a tiger is a paper tiger is to walk up and touch it. The brain's threat detection system, the part that floods you with cortisol and a racing heart, does not respond to intellectual arguments. It responds to lived experience. The man might still feel the fear, but by acting against it, he provides his brain with new competing evidence. The evidence of survival. The evidence of competence. The danger of pure awareness is that it can become a kind of intellectual armor. The more you know about your flaws, the more you can explain them away. Of course, I didn't apply for that job. I have an insecure attachment style and I'm protecting myself from potential rejection. The diagnosis becomes a justification. It's an airtight alibi for inaction. You become a connoisseur of your own pathology. You might discuss it with friends over dinner, with a kind of detached academic interest, like a wine expert discussing the terroir of a particularly complex vintage. The pain is still there, but it's a familiar pain, a well-understood pain. And the human psyche will often choose a familiar misery over an unfamiliar solution. The solution, after all, involves risk. It involves the possibility of failure. Sticking with the diagnosis is safe. Nothing changes, but nothing gets worse. The core of self-regulation is the capacity to manage your internal state in the service of a long-term goal. It is a verb, it is a skill, it is the ability to feel the pull of an old habit and choose a new action. This is built like a muscle. It requires reps. Every time you feel the urge to check your phone and instead hold your focus on a task for 1 more minute, you've done a rep. Every time you feel the flash of anger and choose to take a breath before responding, you've done a rep. Awareness is the thermometer that tells you the room is hot. Regulation is the thermostat that turns on the air conditioning. One describes the state, the other changes it. To the pragmatists, a world full of people with perfectly calibrated thermometers who are all sweating to death is a world that has profoundly missed the point. This logic seems brutal but effective. And yet, the advocates for awareness have a powerful counterpoint. Action without direction is just churn. Imagine someone trying to build a business. They hustle, they work 18-hour days, they take massive action, but they have no awareness of their market, their product market fit, or their own strengths and weaknesses. They are simply running hard in the wrong direction. Their action, their self-regulation, is burning them out and leading them straight into a wall. Without the map of self-awareness, you risk optimizing a broken strategy. You become incredibly efficient at making the same mistakes over and over again. You might even achieve your goal, only to find it was the wrong goal, one that makes you miserable because it was based on a misunderstanding of who you are and what you truly value. Here we arrive at the central tension. It's a feedback loop. Awareness should inform action. Action should then generate new feedback, which refines awareness. The two are supposed to work in a cycle. The problem is that for most people, the cycle is broken. They get stuck on one side of the equation. The thinkers get trapped in analysis paralysis, endlessly refining their understanding. The doers get trapped in mindless activity, confusing motion with progress. The thinkers build a perfect ship that never leaves the harbor. The doers set sail in a leaky raft, bailing water the whole way, insisting that bailing is the point. Both are stuck. Let's look deeper at the mechanism of being stuck. The awareness trap works because insight feels like progress. The brain releases a little hit of dopamine with each aha moment. It's a discovery you are solving a puzzle. The puzzle just happens to be you. This can create a subtle addiction to self-pathology. You keep digging for more broken parts because finding them is rewarding. It provides a sense of control through understanding. This is a very different feeling from the discomfort of self-regulation. Regulation means sitting with the anxiety of trying something new. It means feeling the boredom of a difficult task and staying with it. It means accepting the awkwardness of a new social skill. It means feeling the burn. There's no immediate dopamine hit. The reward is delayed, sometimes for weeks or months. Our brains, wired for immediate gratification, will almost always choose the comfort of insight over the friction of action. So what does effective self-regulation actually look like? It's more than just willpower. It involves designing your environment. If you want to stop eating junk food, the most effective act of self-regulation is the one you take in the grocery store. The action is creating an environment where your future, tired self does not have to fight a battle of willpower. You make the right choice easy and the wrong choice hard. This is a form of higher-order regulation. It's an awareness of your own weaknesses applied strategically. It concedes the battle of the moment to win the war of the week. This is where awareness and action merge beautifully. Your self-awareness of your weakness for cookies at 10 o'clock at night informs the action of not buying cookies at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The process is about moving from abstract knowledge to embodied knowledge. You might know that exercise is good for you. This is abstract. It's a fact you can recite. Embodied knowledge is what your body knows after 6 months of consistent running. It's the feeling of craving the run. It's the deep sleep you get after. It's the calm focus that follows. Your body has learned the lesson directly. The abstract fact has become a physical reality. This is a change that no amount of reading or thinking can replicate. It requires the doing. It requires the sweat, the friction, the work. The ultimate synthesis, then, is dynamic. It is a dance between seeing and doing. You use awareness to pick a target, just one. You pick one specific observable behavior you want to change. Not be more confident. That's too vague. It's speak up once in the weekly meeting. You then use the tools of self-regulation to execute that single action. You breathe beforehand. You script your first sentence. You do it, even if your heart is pounding. Then, crucially, you return to awareness. How did it feel? What was the outcome? What did you learn? This new data refines your map. Maybe you learned the fear was worse than the reality. Maybe you learned you need to be more prepared next time. This new awareness informs the next action. The goal for next week's meeting is now slightly different. It's refined. The loop is closed. Awareness, action, reflection. Repeat. That is the engine of change. Anything else is just spinning your wheels. So where does this leave us? We see that pure awareness is a library of unread books, and pure action is an athlete running sprints in a fog. Both are forms of being lost. The challenge is that our personalities, our habits, and our educational systems push us toward one camp or the other. We are trained to be either thinkers or doers, scholars or builders. But real transformation requires you to be both, an architect who lays their own bricks. And so, the question comes back to you. Look at the one thing you most want to change in your life. The career you want to build, the relationship you want to fix, the person you want to become. For the last 6 months, what has your process been? Have you been polishing the diagnosis, becoming the world's leading expert on your own limitations? Or have you been taking action? Any action, just to feel the illusion of movement. Where is the balance in your own life between the map and the territory? And be honest, is it